Hi, this is Cajun, and it's time for our weekly conference call at vectorspaceai. All eyes are pointed at drug repurposing when we look at things from a global perspective and how global markets are affected. They're being swayed by news related to COVID-19, drug repurposing, and pockets or spikes of the virus occurring around the world. On the industry side, there is a combined effort, really, globally, to apply natural language processing and understanding, as we've mentioned before, and as it's happening more and more on a daily basis with new data sources and new papers being published. That natural language processing is being applied to finding patterns in data related to drug repurposing, and this is only picking up speed, and that's in terms of resources and funding and companies building out data engineering pipelines to look for these hidden relationships and new scientific papers that are published related to not just COVID-19 but other infectious diseases here, as this looks like it's going to be an ongoing effort here by the entire world to make progress in battling this disease. So it has an impact. It's driving the global markets, and this is unarguable. This is being observed not just by us, but by many around the world. This is something that we pay attention to because when you look at the crypto industry, BTC, crypto as a whole, is turning out to be highly correlated to the traditional markets. That's why we pay attention to both. On the corporate side, everything is on track. Corporate development included. We're kind of throttling signups as we try to maintain parity with engineering, as sales and marketing tries to maintain parity with engineering, as well as product. And that's our next point here. Everything is on track there. We've got a 3.1922 Sharpe ratio. 3.19, let's say a 3.19 Sharpe ratio for our short side smart baskets on the traditionals going 1 year back. And that is fantastic. That's a lot better than we thought. And thanks to Sobi and his group, they calculated that. We're going to recalculate based on a more recent time period that will also account for what's been happening over the last 6 months through the pandemic. On the engineering and operations side, we're still working on our sentiment analysis product and summarization included, as well as automating the data engineering pipeline and in conducting an analysis on different kinds of clustering techniques along the way here that we can automate and package and bundle. On the customers, partners, and collaborators side, we announced with LCX Phase 1, the first stage in introducing the world to smart baskets made up of cryptocurrencies and traditional stocks in the future. And we'll be collaborating with LCX on advancing these smart baskets and having a few different versions, a few different flavors of them. Not just for traditionals in crypto or long and short, but also proprietary and non-proprietary for retail traders, for example, and proprietary for trading desks or other kinds of institutions. On the Bloomberg side, we have turned in our paperwork. We have completed our paperwork, all of it, for the Bloomberg betting process. And we look forward probably to hearing back from them in a few days. We owe them samples on data, which we'll be providing them with in the next day or so. And they'll come back with questions, of course. We don't know how long the vetting process is going to last, but we'll keep everybody updated. On the S&P Global side, everything is on track there. We have been also talking with Trustology, one of our partners on the wallet side here, custodial side. And they are interested in working with us on the Smart Basket side and on the LCX side and on the S&P Global side, where traditional market players will utilize S&P Global data sets produced by vectorspaceai, where Trustology would be the custodian in cases where a large company might want to access the data sets. This is how we've had it all along, but traditional market players will feel very comfortable with Trustology, and Trustology will go ahead and broadcast our offerings and platform and products to their clientele, which is exactly what we want. And the same thing will be happening with Silvergate Bank as we're establishing accounts in Southern California here with Silvergate Bank. They are a bank that recently IPO'd, and they are a crypto bank, specifically for crypto transactions and the crypto industry. We'll also be interfacing with Zendesk not on a partnership basis, but just on a customer support basis. We're going to be rolling out that layer pretty soon here. On the CERN side, we have received their papers, and they have been published in the channel. These are papers related to theoretical particle physics, scientific papers related to the Higgs boson particle, and everything happening at CERN pretty much related to particle physics. And those papers will be analyzed to extract patterns using NLP and NLU so that data sets are created and augmented with their data sets as we described earlier, related to the data they collect when they do their experiments. And then, of course, we have other partners in the pipeline that most are familiar with, and we will have updates on those shortly as we, again, make sure that we are on or in parity with what's happening on the engineering side here. We don't want to stretch engineering too thin. That's when you begin to make mistakes. On the sales and marketing side, they are aware of that as well. And that's why on the sales and marketing side, they are pretty much waiting for the Alpha Week article, although contact has been made, ongoing contact is being made with new signups, new customer inquiries. So when that new Alpha Week article is out, the first one will be provided to Trustology as well, and they offered to do a bit of sales and marketing for us too, based on that article. We'll be mentioning Trustology in the Alpha Week article to come as well. This is a good segue into IR, PR, and Marcom. And Trustology, again, broadcasting any PRs on our side that involve them. That's a big win for us. But also for us to be able to include them in negotiations with other partners, for example, at LCX or Bloomberg or S&P Global. That also enables them to communicate to their customer base about us. So it's a form of cross-pollination or virtuous feedback loop. So if we looked at a sneak peek of the Alpha Week article, it would be based on the dexamethasone basket. We've mentioned this earlier. And the title of the article, just on a sneak peek basis, is Dexamethasone Announcement Could Have Made Hedge Funds a Fortune. And then the first paragraph reads, on June 16th, 2020, the UK government announced that dexamethasone, an anti-inflammatory drug, was approved for use across the nation's health services. There's a link to that there. To treat all UK hospitalized COVID-19 patients requiring oxygen, including those on ventilators. The drug had been proven to reduce the risk of death significantly in COVID-19 patients on ventilation by as much as 35%, and patients on oxygen by 20%, reducing the total 28-day mortality rate by 17%. And then the second paragraph, hedge funds, whether they employ a discretionary approach or systematic one, could have made a fortune in the following 2 days. San Francisco-based machine learning technology firm VectorspaceAI has built an algorithm which constructed an equity-weighted basket of 5 securities containing Novavax, Perrigo, PRGO, BMY, KPTI, MNTA, and in 2 days returned 21.23%. This kind of falls in line with the Elastic article, but this is speaking to the hedge fund industry and asset management industry or audience directly, as this is their industry trade publication and very well understood by this journalist as well. So this is another example of product to market fit, and the ultimate example, of course, is revenue leading to profit. So that's on the IR and Marcom side, and when everything is ready, when the timing is right, we will go ahead and have this article released. We shouldn't say that we are in control of any release schedule from a journalist or Alpha Week, but when they release it is when we kick off. We use that as the gating event to kick off a bunch of other dependencies. And then we've got S&P, and maybe some don't realize, but S&P is or has one of the largest PR arms of any company in the world. So that's also something to consider when they are ready to begin. They'll have the Alpha Week article too and be referencing it. On the HR side, we've got 2 new roles filled in operations. And on the legal side, we're still working out our legal opinion. And then we have questions from the trader base. And the first question we have is, do you test smart baskets with a high variance in position size? Yes, we have done that. We have done that with a group called, or a hedge fund called Arteman Capital. They're a branch off of a VC firm, division of a VC firm in Palo Alto, California, Silicon Valley there. And we operated on just highly liquid S&P issues, and got a chance to test baskets with a few million in capital per basket, and we had 2 or 3 baskets a day. And that wasn't much, actually. You want to be able to deploy, 100 million a day if you can, or more. And that is one of our goals, is being able to support deploying a large amount of capital. And you can do that not just by sticking within S&P stocks, but you can do that by creating baskets of baskets, or treed baskets. We call them smart basket trees. The reason for that is you can create a vector, or a tree of vectors as well. And that's how you create a tree of smart baskets. And then the second question is, what's the upper limit of position sizes that you've back tested? So we've tested in simulated markets only with $1 million per basket. And I can say that you can back test, and then you can test with a simulated market environment where you've got simulated buy pressure and sell pressure, and simulated market manipulation for that matter. But it's still nothing like the real thing. Anyone knows that that has deployed an algorithm in production using real money, the real markets are always slightly different. And that's why we intend to trade our internal proprietary baskets ourselves, of course. And then the next question is, when will the investment club begin, and what are the fees? We intend to begin the investment club as soon as we solidify the technical back end on the LCX relationship, because we're going to be talking with LCX about the proprietary smart baskets that we have, and creating an offering for the investment club to be extended to other exchanges and so forth on an invite-only basis. We are going to skip dataset insights to save a little time, but we will be talking about clustering based on time series, and then clustering based on NLP, and then clustering based on those combined and the differences. On the exchanges side, we've made contacts with IDEX, and we have let them know that we are interested in relisting. They've gotten back to us and said they've changed their policy and are doing KYC and AML for customers, but not in the United States. And they are looking for us to pay a listing fee. So we're talking with them about that. We are on track, though, after S&P and after the Alpha Week article. That's when we go to the larger exchanges. So just to reiterate that, and we'll just keep publishing reminders on this, because that's very important for other people to know, for everyone to know, that we operate based on strategy, not whim, and this means things need to happen at the right time and have dependencies. On the strategy side, we look forward. Our long-term strategy here is to have our data sets. Look forward to having our data sets contribute to solving real-world problems, particularly with COVID-19 and infectious disease. Life sciences is turning out to be the largest industry that's ever existed here, aside from data. And we want to be there to help solve some of these problems we're facing here. And of course, scientific discoveries. Our data sets, we'd love to have them cited in scientific papers related to what's happening at CERN, for example. So we're strategically positioning data sets and our messaging this way, and our partnerships and our timing. And it's for maximum bang for the buck in the future. So we're not interested in short-term gains here. We're in it for the long game. And we're also interested in powering most of the world's financial markets with retail and proprietary smart baskets, which will essentially be the financial engine funding a lot of our life sciences work, as we've talked about before. So right now, in the short term, we can look forward to the Alpha Week article and the positive ripple effects that occur from that. This has been a pre-recorded call, so if you have any questions, you can post them online. Otherwise, I will see you online. Thanks for joining. Bye.